together, Lord, bind us together with cords that cannot be broken. Bind us together, Lord, bind us together, bind us together with love.
Thank you, Alina, for the soulful prayer song. Now I invite Jancy Sarah John to deliver the welcome address.
Good morning to our revered faculty, esteemed guests, and all participants joining us today. We are now gathered for the 20th session of the Carmel Forum, an international webinar organized by Mount Carmel College of Teacher Education for Women, Kottayam, focusing on the Maldives Education Forum, curriculum, evaluation, and professional opportunities. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to this session. I extend a warm welcome to respected Sister Lynette CSST, Director of the College, for her gracious presence and blessings that inspire our proceedings. Welcome, Sister. I extend a respectful welcome to Professor Dr. Suma Joseph, Principal and General Convener of the Forum, whose guidance steers this session towards excellence in education. Welcome, ma'am. I welcome respected Ismail Nasir Sir, Principal of Wadu School, Republic of Maldives, a seasoned education leader with over 25 years of experience and part-time lecturer at several prominent institutions in the Republic of Maldives, sharing his expertise in education, leadership, and curriculum development. Welcome, sir. I acknowledge and welcome respected Manul George Sir, whose recommendation helped Ismail Nasir Sir as our resource person, and we appreciate his valuable support for this forum. Welcome, sir. I welcome all our respected teachers whose dedication to education nurtures academic growth and innovation. Their expertise will enhance the quality of our deliberations. Welcome, dear teachers. I welcome all participants of this webinar whose engagement will foster meaningful dialogue on curriculum, evaluation, and professional opportunities. Welcome, dear participants. We wish that this formal forum will enlighten and assist you in advancing your educational practices and professional development in some meaningful way. Thank you.
Thank you, Jancy, for the warm words of welcome. To formally introduce our esteemed resource person for today's session, I invite Mary Christina.
Good morning. Sir Ismail Nasir is a highly experienced education leader from the Republic of Maldives, currently serving as a principal of Wadu School. With years of dedicated service in the education sector, including more than 20 years in school leadership, he has played a significant role in shaping quality education and student development in his community. In addition to his role as a principal, Mr. Nasir contributes to higher education as a part-time lecturer at several prominent institutions in the Maldives, including Maldives National University, Maldives Islamic University, Sikra International College, and Villa College. Through these roles, he actively supports the professional growth of future educators and leaders. Mr. Nasir also serves as a curriculum ambassador, advocating for improved teaching practices, curriculum development, and student-centered learning approaches across schools. He holds a Master of Science in Education Leadership and Management from National Institute of Education in Sri Lanka, which strengthens his expertise in school leadership, strategic planning, and educational innovation. Throughout his career, Mr. Nasir has actively participated in both national and international forums, sharing his knowledge and experience in education leadership, school improvement, and youth development. His most recent participation was at the Asian Forum of Parliamentarians on Population and Development held at the People's Majlis in Mali, Maldives, where he contributed his insights on education and social development. We are honored to have you, sir.
Uh, Thank you, ma'am. Thank you all. So I really appreciate for the opportunity, and thank you very much to Manoso as well, and also to the whole leadership of the college. At this morning, I'll try my level best to explain and then how evaluation process is proceeding at schools. Well, looking at the in the Maldives. So unlike other mostly and have one government school. Except Addu formula policy. So the rest of the have one school. Currently have 9. So now from here you can see the mold is, it seems like once to the history editions in 19, the first GC O-level examination classes in the history of the Maldives began in 1960. So Majidia School is going to be 100 years now. It is the old school. And in 1960, the curriculum development prior to the introduction of educational reform in 1960s began formalizing education national standards. So the first batch did the O level in 1967, and so for the preparation they have taken around 7 years. Looking into the history again, in 1960s and even in 1970s, the formal schooling with a standard curriculum is not implemented in the island schools. So what I have mentioned here was basically practiced in capital Male. So like Male, the islands also has elementary schools as community-based schools like Madrasatul Iftitah in Lavian Nafar. So those days, though we have the paid teachers, so the community is leading a role to foster education to the entire community. Again, in 1976, the education project office EPO was in the Maldives. And in addition to that, the interesting thing was that uh, the curriculum which was introduced in 1984 was not like the curriculum what currently practicing in the Maldives. The whole curriculum has around 8 pages. So basically, uh, other than the content and those aspects, the very first curriculum has major part as a hidden curriculum. So once we look into the different models like spiral model or Hilda-Taba model. I would rather say it is more basically like design on Hilda-Taba model. In 1979 to 1980, introduction of the first formal syllabus, primary grade 1 to 5 introduced, and implementation of the first 10 years of master plan or education sector plan, which was started in 1986 to 1995. So that was the period where the very first master plan started in the Maldives. In 2015, the current curriculum was again introduced, so which is entirely a different curriculum than the previous curriculum. So when I'm explaining, if you have any question, so after finishing each part, so I would give you a chance to ask questions. And I believe that this must be very friendly two-way communication actually for further understanding. Well, the key features in the current curriculum. So this might be quite interesting, I think. In short, we can say the current curriculum of the Maldives is a competency-based curriculum. So it focuses on what learners can do, prioritizing skills acquisitions, values, and attitudes over mere knowledge retention. So it is more basically on holistic development, aiming to create successful, confident, and responsible individual rooted in Islamic principles and culture identity. So here, from the second point, the interesting thing was that certain attributes are articulated in the curriculum framework. It says that if someone who is a productive or individual responsible child, it has mentioned that certain things must be evident from such children. So one of the key points is that they would understand their own learning style, and also they would have the curiosity to create knowledge. I have one key point to mention here. Maldives, even including India, we all are contributing nations and member nations in UN, United Nations. And of course, the United Nations has decided sustainable development goals from 2017 to 2030. Out of those 17 goals, the goal 4 is basically aim for quality education. So in that goal, there are 4 attributes, which was called inclusivity, equity, quality education, and lifelong learning. So once we focused into the concept of lifelong learning and the holistic development, which is mentioned in the Maldivian curriculum, there is a correlation. So this means that the school system of the Maldives, even in every school, every leadership, so we have to try so harder to minimize the gap and to foster education is the way how it is mentioned in the curriculum framework. Well, the key features, again, basically the other areas like it has 8 learning areas. It covers Islam and spirituality, because since Maldives is 100% Muslim country, so it has given priority for Islam and spirituality, language and communication, mathematics, environment, science, technology, health and well-being, social science, creative arts, and entrepreneurship. So these are the key learning areas which are covering by the current curriculum. So Islam and spirituality under this particular area, in our schools, we only teach Islam as a subject, the Quran as a subject. Then with regard to language and communication, we teach our own mother language, which is Divehi language and English language. Mathematics, environmental science, technology, health and well-being, social science, creative art. So these are the subjects we teach in English medium. So in short, we can say here in the Maldives, the medium of instruction is English in all government schools. We only teach Divehian, Islam, and plus Quran in our mother language. So the rest of the subjects we teach in English medium. Then the other interesting thing was that the key competency. Of course, I think some of you might be very familiar into the book which is called You Can Win. The author of that book is known as Shiv Khera. So Shiv Khera has a close relation to Indians. I think his parents may be from India, but he's a good author. So according to his explanations, he says that it is the ability along with the within and having the desire to accept the responsibility. So nowadays in most schools, even in IC, some of the skillful people, but they are reluctant to take the responsibility. So this is the interesting point. So sometimes we say that this particular person is very good in artistic. One of the very challenging thing in the Maldives, I think is like a global issue. The same reality will be there in India too. Because as mentioned in the introduction, I studied in Sri Lanka. I mean, I did my bachelor's degree and master's degree in Sri Lanka. So I have seen the same reality when I was there for 5 years. I think even this would be a challenge to Indian education system too, because this is becoming a global issue. Well, with regard to competencies, the Maldivian current curriculum emphasizes on 8 key competencies. The very first one is called the practicing Islam. Then under each of these competency, there will be certain outcomes that needs to be contributed. Of course, the competency is not something that could be taught, because in psychology we know that we studied and we practice that human have the tendency to imitate others' behavior. So likewise, the practicing Islam is not something that we could teach all the time. Of course, content could be taught, but the thing is, the competency is something that has to be seen by someone or some group of people. So in short, we can say it has to be imitated, and we have to give a chance or the room to the students to practice it in such a way. The other thing is thinking, or thinking critically or creatively. Then the personal and social skills. So knowing the self and how to respect the own family and how to respect the global community, and also the communication plus the citizenship, and also sustainable practices. I mean, taking care for the environment, and in addition to that, which is called the digital literacy, and also having the desire for entrepreneurship. So these are some of the key fundamental areas which are incorporated into the key competencies. So while delivering the lesson, the teachers are obligated actually to keep focus on the things which I have already mentioned. So in addition to that, we can in addition to that, the other things that needs to be mentioned are structured and assessment. Of course, the formal system here, we have the foundation stage, that is UKG and LKG and UKG, and then primary and secondary plus higher secondary. Then the assessment emphasizes mostly on formative up to grade 6. So it is basically practicing formative assessment. And then from grade 7 and above, basically it is following both formative and summative. In addition to that, we give priority for inclusion and ensure non-discriminatory accessible curriculum for all learners. So from this last point with regard to inclusivity, in all the schools in the Maldives are obligatory to teach in inclusive model for every special education child, the or down roof out for certain periods, but mostly they will be in the same classroom. So that is to ensure inclusivity. This is the overall big picture of the Maldives national curriculum. Of course, the curriculum itself has a vision. So the vision, it's a successful individual who are motivated to learn and explore, who are inspired, who are inquisitive and eager to seek, use and create knowledge. Once is a successful individual who are motivated to learn and to explore and to create the knowledge. We have certain principles, so somehow is like mentioned in competencies in the principles. It has said that the Islam, then identity and culture, human rights and democracy and justice, then holistic development, personal excellence, inclusivity, then preparing for life relevance. So these are some of these are the overall principles which is mentioned in the Maldivian national curriculum. In addition to that, we have the values relating to family and others, and the values relating to local and global community, and values relating to the environment. So here the interesting thing was that, for example, I don't know whether how many of you are referring or reading. How many of you? Yeah. Robin Sharma, before COVID-19, he wrote a book which is called The 5M Club. Of course, his first published one was known as The 5M The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, and his latest book, which is known as Everyday Hero. So, knowing the soul, he mostly talk about self, body set. He has mentioned in most of his publishes. So likewise, here the shared values are so much relying or so much emphasized on knowing the self and self-awareness. And also by knowing the self and how the child has to be responsible to the own family and plus to the others. In addition to that, how to be responsible to the local community as well as to the global community. In addition to that, since we have so much of vulnerable factors in our environment, so that to keep the curiosity in terms of values to the environment. In addition to that, the focus for learning was basically based on three segments, so which is known as the knowledge and understanding, skills, values, and attitudes. So we all know the three domains for education. Which is called the cognitive domain, the psychomotor domain, and the affective domain. Here, the knowledge and understanding for cognitive domain, then the skills are to improve or to strengthening the psychomotor domain, and values and attitudes are basically to strengthening the affective domain. So in short, we can say the head, the hand, and the heart. So some authors or some educators says like 3H. The 3H concept is so much emphasized in the focus for learning. Of course, I already shared about key competency. In addition to that, the key learning areas. So Islam and spirituality, then the Islamic Tarbiyah and Quran, then language and communication, we teach English as a foreign language, and Divi, Arabic, and mathematics and mathematical science, marine science, then environmental science, then biology, science, and chemistry, human health and well-being, health and physical education. With regard to social science, we teach social studies, geography and history, creative arts, art, and then entrepreneurship, we teach accounting, ICT, business studies, economics. So these are certain subjects that we teach through the key learning subjects. Then the effective pedagogy. Of course, this is something very fascinating and interesting thing. We here to implement the curriculum effectively, we practice 5 pedagogical dimensions. The very first dimension is that creating a positive learning environment. So when creating a positive learning environment, there are other 3 attributes that we consider. So the first thing is the physical setting of the classroom. The other one is the social and emotional setting of the students. And then the other one is the academic setting. Now, for example, creating a positive learning environment. So this is a very key area that we are giving so much of emphasis. Sometimes in some schools, we see broken chairs, desks, and things are in inappropriate order. So when we look at those things, there will be kind of disturbance when things are not in order. So the neurons which are in the brain will definitely be activated when you see it. Then there will be a kind of disturbance. then before starting the lesson, if that disturbance comes, this means before starting the lesson, the brain has occupied certain things which are disturbing to the student. So this means we are so much encouraging to maintain the neatness of the classroom, the good arrangement, the good look of the school, and that must be a very loving and cute environment. So this is one of the key area that we are highly focusing on, to keep students alive, to keep students joyful in their learning. Then the other thing that we keep our focus in, of course, once we look into the socio-economic background of the students, some students may be in poverty line before, some might be below poverty line based on the catchment area. So different students will come with different families, different backgrounds, and with different emotions. So once they come to the school, once they come to the classroom, if we teachers are aggressive and if we are not properly just addressing to them, of course, there will be so much of disturbance to their emotions. And as a result of that, there will be a discontinuity of learning, and they will definitely will go to the corner and they will be isolated, or they will become antisocial. They will become as kids who are practicing antisocial behavior. Then the other thing is connecting prior learning to new learning. So this is basically related into constructivism. So you know the ZPD, right? So which is so much related into constructivist theories, and the fostering reflective practices, which is basically on assessment and making learning meaningful. So this is something we are highly emphasizing on. For example, mathematics teachers, they are so curious to teach simultaneous equation. But the interesting was that the very few teachers are only able to say the purpose of it, to teach simultaneous equation. For example, in physics class, we asked students to learn or to find out wavelength. Of course, this is the formula like F lambda. So why actually we need to find the wavelength? What is the correlationship between wavelength and frequency? So we need to bring the child's curiosity why this particular knowledge is required for our life purpose. For example, nowadays, in economics, there are certain models like gravity model of economy. Well, Maldives is of course in the Indian Ocean. So from Delhi, the institutes like NCGG, National Center for the Good Governance of India. So when they conduct trainings and when they coordinate with the countries like Maldivian people, so they usually say that in Maldives is the gateway to Indian Ocean. But here, the interesting thing was that maybe the topic may be like the gravity model of the economy. In industrial economy of the Maldives currently becoming so closer to Chinese product, then of course, I mean the construction industry, the transport industry, and the electric generators and solar panels, and those things have so much of pull from China to Maldives. And then, but Sri Lanka is the most closest, India is next closest. Then there must be a question, why the gravity is so high to the Maldives, into Maldives industrial economy from the China. So this must be a point that the kids to realize that to have the balanced economic system into nearby countries, what options from India or what options from Sri Lanka to have balanced economic system. So likewise, in teaching classrooms, that we need to make learning meaningful. Then the catering to individual differences. This is also another key area that we keep very high focus. Because every child is different. There will be, of course, the gifted and talented students, average students, below average students. So somehow this curriculum is so much emphasized on to practice differentiated instructions. All right. Then the ways to evaluate, of course, measuring learning across dimensions and using multiple methods, then involving the whole school community and using feedback, and also accountability measures. We take accountability measures into national standards and positive behavior, contribution to the society, and plus better decision in life. Well, then we will come to assessment and evaluation. Of course, this is a very major role that we need to keep a very high focus to ensure how far the child has achieved their learning. From this picture, the building, what you see is the main building of the Ministry of Education of the Maldives. So once come to the assessment and evaluation, the current curriculum in the Maldives emphasized as a student-centered approach focusing on formative assessment. So basically assessment for learning, and then self and peer assessment, and then summative assessment. Basically in major parts from foundation stage to grade 6, we are 100% practicing formative assessment, aligning that into assessment as learning tool. Then of course, assessment as learning is designed mostly for the gifted and talented, because they only have the tendency to evaluate themselves by themselves. So I think this is the model which was introduced in 1980s by William and James in the black box experiment. So basically, from, as I told you, and then of course is summative exams too. But so far, because in 2015 we started formative assessment, with this regard, my personal experience was that which is not very good actually, to have formative assessment as a formal procedure for a very longer period, like once they come complete to grade 6. But for grade 1 and 2, which is fine, but so far through my experience, I would say from grade 3 and above, though we are practicing formative assessment, it is very essential to practice summative assessment. So the current curriculum is very close to the New Zealand curriculum. Currently, the Minister of Education, especially the Minister, Dr. Ismail Shafir, is so much giving emphasis to readjust the current practices in the assessment process. I think very soon into assessment policy of the Maldives. Well, the key features of formative assessment, what we are facing in the Maldives, class, and this is the way how teachers are sharing learning intention to the students. The other aspect is success criteria. So students should know what success should look like and how their work will be judged. And this will help actually students to measure their own progress. For example, good persuasive paragraph must have a clear opinion, give at least 2 reasons, use linking words. Then the other aspect is that evaluation process. Of course, if there is an assessment process, the process cannot be completed without evaluation. Uh, Hello, you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. So evaluation process of assessment, the key steps are collective evidence of learning and gather information from different assessment methods. Of course, we sometimes use checklist, we sometimes use mind map, we sometimes use and we sometimes met. So those are some of the tools formation, and it must be continuous. So these are the other key areas that we keep very high focus on it. In addition to that, intention evaluation. So we need, and so evaluation means making a judgment. So if this process is weak, then of course, then there will be a huge learning gap, which we cannot be treated if we do not keep a curiosity. So in our schools, we mostly have professional development days. So currently in Wadu school, I mean, where the school where I'm working, so on every Thursday, we used to have 30 minutes professional development sessions to the teachers, because it is always like sharpen the saw. So if we do not sharpen the mindset of the teachers, sometimes we have the prediction that after doing the training, after doing a bachelor's degree or master's degree or postgraduate diploma, the teachers will be always attentive. But the ultimate truth is that if there is no responsive or responsible leadership to bring the curiosity in these aspects, so those qualities will be deteriorated. So always the school system or the schools needs to keep a very high focus to be enlightening, to bring back the relevant knowledge to the context of teachers. So then the consistency of the teaching and learning would be occurred well. So in the Maldives, we keep very high focus to maintain the quality. So with regard to assessment and evaluation, especially for evaluation process, as I told recently, so evaluation is all about making a judgment. So the teacher could decide how far the child has arrived or in their learning. Even if the students have carried out self-assessment or peer assessment, they would really understand how closer that they came to the learning intention or the success criteria which was intended and shared to learn. And they also would realize the learning gap. Also, by the meantime, if the teachers have a very good judging system or evaluation method, the teachers will realize who and who are gifted and who are average and who are below average, to whom that we have to give much more time frame, much more directive teaching, much more directive controlling in teaching. So where this particular child is. So it is always essential to understand the student's level of achievement. And then also to analyze the student's competency level. The judgment must be evidence-based on unbiased. This is also very important. So we always keep a high priority actually to make students evaluation based on evidence. So not just as a story, but through evidence. Then the other factors, of course, after making a judgment, we need to provide feedback. And during the feedback process, so we have parents and teachers meeting in every quarter. So we keep recording everything what was told by the teacher, what was told by the parent, and we have online platforms that teachers immediately to feel, yes, Ali's parent has said this and this and this, what Ali has said about his mathematics, and then so the principal could evaluate those things, that the leading teachers or the supervisors could evaluate those things. And then we always keep high focus to correlate what the particular child is doing in the school and what the parent has said and what the child has said are aligning, or there is incongruency in what is being told. So then again from there we find the gap. So this is also quite interesting part. I'm actually to analyze the students' potentials. But of course, this will take so much of time. But I would say, as a principal, as someone who has worked in the Maldives for more than 25 years in the sector, the most important thing for us is to keep our curiosity, to have our passion. So we can't be teachers if we do not have the curiosity into the sector. So we can't be as like a branding teachers if we do not have the curiosity. So So never wait till someone asks, but we can always uh, keep our focus on ourselves and make ourselves to push towards the new learning or the learning process or the innovation, what could be practiced into the system. So here in the Maldives, we have so much of, freedom for self-leadership to bring our innovations to into the school system. Then the other thing is that evaluation process, the reflection on teaching and teacher reflection on which method of work, which did not work. Now, for example, let's say uh, mostly we teach in the very conventional method. So just keeping students in rows and then we do teach, but most of the time we never ask for field trip, we never ask for project based learning, we never practice the cooperative learning. So in that sense, what happens was that the child motivation or the curiosity towards learning will becoming affect which hinder the quality of the child. So it will bring the boredness. So as a result of the boredness, then the child will never give the attention towards the particular subject. So this is something where the teachers need to uh, keep very high focus. So we always remind our teachers actually to keep higher priority on these aspects too. Then of course, during the evaluation process, we need to ensure that no student is left out, and we need to take actions, interventions. We need to provide extra support. We need to extend learning for higher achievement, and we need to modify. So here is the interesting point. Actually, the evaluation process itself here in the Maldives, we always ask teachers to evaluate their own teaching, actually and to make their own judgment whether they need to modify their own teaching, right? So this is a very fundamental key area that always we keep very high focus for our teachers actually to, that is because if these are not significant in school system, then again, as I mentioned earlier, the quality of education soon will deteriorate. So that what we put of course, the school system itself is having an input, process, structure, output, and outcome. So what we put into the input process, the most valuable person is the teacher. So if the teacher have the readiness and willingness and desire to accept the responsibility, then they will bring the impact to that particular school. So that we always keep very high focus actually to direct to intervene the teacher quality as well. Not only the students learning, but also to give high priority for strengthening teachers' capability. Well, and also we need to record for the progress. In addition to that, we always need to measure students' learning, and as mentioned earlier, and then what students know, what they can do, how well they understand. So these are very fundamental things that to keep very high focus. Now, for example, let's say in a biology class, we may be teaching the digestive system. Then uh, we may be teaching starting from the buccal cavity, and we teach them the teeth like molars and premolars, then the glands, the salivary glands, and then we talk about the esophagus and bolus, and those things we may be teaching to them. And then after teaching that, we need to assure what they can do. I mean, there must be a purpose of knowing the esophagus, of knowing the stomach, of knowing the large intestine, of knowing the small intestine, of knowing the liver, of knowing the duodenum. So how the liver functioning affects to our emotions and our aggressiveness. So those, when a teacher told those things, I'm sure that the students would love and will keep curiosity on to that particular subject like biology. So, I mean, at our context in the schools of the Maldives, and mostly we always keep very high focus to tell the teachers when implementing the curriculum effectively, make learning meaningful. Make learning meaningful. And of course, the if the teaching method is irrelevant, the teachers can do or the bring the change. Of course, we are practicing it, and we need to change the resources and also utilize the better resources. In addition to that, to find in learning gap also very essential, like the weakness, the misunderstanding, then students needing support. So these are some of the key fundamental area that we keep very high focus on evaluation. And then evaluation process, the we keep communication between teachers, between the school management, between the students and parents. So it's like we implement the whole process to communicate the result. Then the last aspect which I would like to share here is I would consider the schools are not actually to teach. I would say most of the schools in the Maldives in current context are like an institute where the teachers could grow their potentials and that they can be masters in their field. So because most of the schools are highly open to create opportunities for teachers to become PD coordinators, and even the schools are given to the teachers, to those who have potentials to take professional learning class by themselves. So there might be a teacher who is good at AI, artificial intelligence. So by the meantime, rather than taking someone from outside, we always give the priority someone who is in the school to strengthen their capability. In the school, there might be someone who could take lessons based on inclusive education. So rather than taking someone from outside, we give the priority for the one who is in the school to strengthen their capabilities. So I hope that I have come across the intended things which is asked in the session to tell more about the Maldivian curriculum and how we are fostering the pedagogical approaches, and how our assessment process are, and how we do evaluation and making a judgment, and how we proceed intervention, and how we create opportunities for teacher development in our institutes. So I hope that at least that most of you would have some questions. So I'll give some time to ask questions before I conclude.
Hi, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so I do have a doubt, but this is not something regarding the curriculum, but
Yeah.
about the recruitment process actually happening in Maldives. Like, what
Yeah.
qualifications and the skills that are being expected from a fresher teacher with little or no experience?
Well, fortunately, in 2013 and 2017, uh, I've been in India for recruitment. And I mean, I was directly involved on behalf of the Minister of Education for the recruitment process. So as per your question, the thing is, we need to have a subject degree, and the salary will be better if have PG, postgraduate diploma, along with the teaching qualification. So we mostly consider at least to have a subject degree. And what other thing that you
You
mentioned?
mentioned about the skill set. Usually, these days we have a lot of technological incorporations, right? So I was just curious
Yes.
about knowing that.
Yeah, it is a very interesting question. In almost all the schools in the Maldives, so every teacher is using their laptops, and mostly things are stored in Google Drive, and most of them are very good at G Suite and Google Docs, and so to prepare the PowerPoint presentations. So basically, we never use, I mean, handwriting even in preparing the scheme of work or lesson plan. Just simply applying the Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel. I mean, in short, I could say computer literacy is very essential as a skill. Then the other thing is the greater pedagogical aspect. So the creative methods to teach, and uh, and having the desire, I mean, to keep your focus into the requirement of the school. So these are the fundamental skills. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, welcome. Any other question? So, any other question? Uh, okay, I have a question. So far, I have, I mean, uh, given so much of insight about Maldivian curriculum. So, what was something new to you? Oh, have you understood what I have shared with you? Anyone could answer. Roshan?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sir. Okay. So the thing is that you have told us this entrepreneurship is actually a part of your curriculum,
Yes.
right? So that is not that common in Indian curriculum, it seems. Like we do have separate streams for that after in this PGT level and higher secondary
Yeah.
grades, but not as a part of the first to 10th grade like that. So that was something new. And this formative assessment part you've mentioned, like it is not that good within the long run, like having a formal formative assessment.
Yeah.
And keeping a guide and track of the students in a regular day-to-day basis is something that is not practically implemented in our school curriculum these days. So
Okay.
that's something I found new from these things.
Yeah. So, Meenakshi. Who is Meenakshi? Saira. So no question, right? Okay, Mary. Hello. You hear me? Achu, do you have any question? Roshan, you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear you.
So no one is responding. Jency, Shaira, Saira, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Any question?
Sir, I have a doubt about what are the things that we uh, we have to know before we coming to Maldives for education purposes.
What sort of doubt actually? I mean, any question you can ask.
Uh, about the relocation, we are relocating to another country. So, what are the we have some plans to relocate to another country. So, what about all those things, sir?
Yeah, well, actually, when I went to India for the first time, that was in 2013 for recruiting teachers. So those days, actually, it was announced, and then some of the Indian agencies, so they are bidding to the Ministry of Education, and you are applied through those agencies, and some are directly applying. Even that could be because even some might have connection to Maldives and then could apply to the Ministry of Education. Well, and then after the application, then of course you will come to the recruitment for the interview. Then the interview is basically segmented. I mean, through interview process, we take like A category, B category, C category. So no D category will be accepting. So only A, B, and C. So then after selecting those, then the agency would ask you to prepare the document. Once you arrive at the Maldives, the visa process, of course, will be proceeded. Then once you come to the Maldives, you will be assigned into a school. Then the school will take the responsibility to take you. Of course, you will need to stay in Male for like sometimes 2 days, 3 days for opening your bank account, for your visa process. And then after that, you need to come to the assigned school. So he has no Maldivian school where there is no Indian. So you will never feel that you are somewhere away. So I think once you come, you will feel very comfortable. Yes, Anju.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, yeah. I think Anju wants to ask a question. Yes. Any other question regarding the employment opportunity in the Maldives and any of such? You can ask.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, actually, I have a doubt. I heard that even if we are employed in Maldives, there is a certain limit for sending money through exchanges to our native country. So, is it really true?
Yeah, at the moment it is true, but the Ministry of Education is, of course, trying so harder to solve the issue. And of course, the discussions are going on with the State Bank of India and with the higher officials of the government. And through discussions, there was a slight improvement of the figure now. I think little amount was increased, but again in the future, because we the principals are also giving a push, and the Minister of Education are also giving a push to the government to find a solution for that, and we believe that it will be solved. Yes.
Okay, so thank you.
Yes, sir, I think their queries are over.
Yeah. Yes.
Before moving to the formal vote of thanks, I would like to say a few words, sir. It was a great
Yes.
pleasure for us to hear from you. Our students are very much interested in being placed as teachers in Maldives. So they were eager to know about the education system in Maldives. So it was very useful session and it was very enlightening, sir. So you have well explained about the curriculum, teaching methods, and assessment techniques and all. So on behalf of myself and Mount Carmel College of Teacher Education for Women, I would like to thank you for sharing your experience and expertise with us today. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. Sneha, carry on.
Thank you, sir, for the enriching session and for addressing the questions raised by the participants. The feedback link has been provided in the chat box. We kindly request you all to fill it out and share your valuable feedback. Now, I invite Nancy James to propose the vote of thanks.
Respected dignitaries, esteemed faculty members, and dear participants. It is my proud privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this memorable occasion of the International Webinar Organization for Women Kottayam under the Carmel Forum. First and foremost, I express my heartfelt gratitude to our distinguished resource person, Sri Ismail Nasir, Principal of the School Maldives. Sir, your insightful presentations on Maldives education system have provided valuable insights into the diverse perspectives on curriculum design and professional pathways in the Maldivian education context have broadened our academic vision. Your presentation gave us a comprehensive understanding of Maldivian education system. The statistical insights you shared help us clearly visualize the scale and structure of education in the Maldives. You mentioned that contribution of expert teachers, especially from India, highlighted the strong collaboration between our nations. We are especially enlightened by your detailed explanation of the key features of the current curriculum. We are grateful for the clear explanation you provided on the map of national curriculum, which gave us an overview of the vision, learning areas, pedagogy, and evaluation practices followed in Maldives. You have not only shared valuable information, but also inspired us to think globally and reflect critically on our own educational practices. We are especially grateful for your patience in addressing our questions and for your willingness to share your knowledge so generously. Despite observing the sacred period of fasting, sir, during this holy time of devotion and prayer, you graciously set aside your valuable time to be with us. Delivering such a thoughtful and energetic section truly reflects your dedication, commitment, and respect for academic collaboration. On behalf of the entire community, we express our profound appreciation and heartfelt thanks to you for making this webinar truly memorable and meaningful. Thank you, sir. I also extend my sincere thanks to our respected director, Sister Lynette CSST, for her constant encouragement and visionary leadership. I extend my profound thanks to our beloved principal and general convener, Professor Dr. Suma Joseph, for her dedication to organizing meaningful platforms like Carmel Forum truly reflect your commitment to quality teacher education. I would also like to place an emphasis on record our sincere gratitude to Dr. Mani for this webinar. Your effort in bridging institution and fostering international academic collaboration is truly commendable. My heartfelt appreciation to Dr. Mary KJ, Assistant Professor and Teacher Coordinator for her systematic coordination and effort in organizing this program. Thank you, ma'am. I would also like to sincerely thank Ms. Sneha Rachel Biju, Student Coordinator, for her enthusiastic involvement and responsible coordination among students. Finally, I thank all the participants for your active presence, thoughtful engagement, and keen interest, which added life and meaning to this academic gathering. Once again, I express my deep gratitude to everyone who contributed their time, effort, and support to the success of this webinar. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ansi, for the sincere words of gratitude. With this, we come to the end of today's session under the Carmel Forum Talk Series. We hope this webinar has inspired new thoughts and opened new professional possibilities. Let us carry forward the knowledge and insights gained today and strive to grow as educators in a global context. Thank you once again for your presence and participation. Have a wonderful day ahead.
Thank you all. I really feel so delighted to have a session with you. Thank you, Mary, and thank you, the senior officials of the college, professors and doctors. And really, this would be a very delighted moment for me as well throughout my journey. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you very much.